Welcome back to the Thrift Store Horde. Season 3 is here. Jason here, and Adam is here. Hey, Adam.
Hey everybody, season 3. There's just two of us for now, though, right?
That's right. Yes, we want to shout out Kevin. Kevin is doing great. A lot better than he had been, and we're glad that he's back on the right track. He's hopeful he will join us for the next episode here in season 3. So if you want to shout out Kevin, hey, go over to hellionsteam.com and leave a comment. He's been known as Kevin Hellions for a long time. I guess that's his more or less what he wants to be known for online. So he ditched the mask library. He's now hellionsteam.com. So go check him out over there and say hello and give him a shout on socials and stuff in the meantime here. But all right, well, what's your thrifting experience been like? Well, actually, before we get into that, how has your selling been to create space? We talked about that as kind of our cliffhanger to season 2.
That was the plan, right? That's why we started doing the mini hauls. Like we were saying, oh, we got to make some space. I gotta say, maybe I made 40% of what I intended to do, moved it out, some other stuff finally sold this weekend. That's the thing, right? You never know. There's certain items, and we'll talk about that today. I'm sure they
Right.
go quick, and then you post other ones and they're on there for months, and then all of a sudden, stuff starts selling again. So like this week, I had a RoboCop poster from Nintendo Power that's been in my store for 5 or 6 months. And because I think the RoboDoc just came out, I think somebody had RoboCop in mind, and so they bought the poster finally, that kind of thing.
Timing is everything. Yes.
How about for you?
It's been about the same for me. I have been selling, been doing very well. Got upgraded to a what do they call it? The whatever the highest seller rating is on eBay. I was so happy, and so I've been moving stuff, but it's like that. You almost need like a triggering event on some of these things to start moving some stuff that's been sitting around for a while. And then other things like I thought would sell right away, and I'm sitting on them. So yeah, I don't know what it is about eBay. It's kind of hit or miss. I'll be sending out 3 packages a day for a week and then won't for 2 weeks, So I have made some space. I'm back out there, actively looking again. Obviously, we're here to show off some recent hauls, and also been hitting the Shop Goodwill site again. I've been finally back over there, even doing a little bit of eBaying. I think it was RetroCon because I'm finding some stuff that I want to complete, and now I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get out there. And then I'll blame also the Wax Pack Flashback that Adam and I are doing. I've been wanting to get some more, cards that I've never opened before too, and I've got a few today that we'll get into. But yeah, so I've been hunting. I've been on the hunt, RetroCon.
The thing is,
it's a long year until the next RetroCon,
That's the thing, right? Like you feel it, like you get the withdrawals. You're like, I was surrounded by it. Now I have to go find it. And what's going on right now is my kids are in sports and they're doing all these activities now that school is back in. So I'll have like 45 minutes to kill. And then a thrift store is just right down the street. And then I stop in. I'm like, oh, look what I found today. So like it's been enabling me that way.
But you have been lucky if you guys been watching, kind of as we're doing these interim little quick haul videos. You've been lucky at your local thrift store, but also at garage sales. It seems like even more lately, which I never have that opportunity. But is that where you were? Did you get some of this stuff that you're going to show off today, or was it mainly at your Goodwill?
Everything I'm showing off today is thrift store finds, actually. But yeah, like I try to get to a garage sale when I can, but it's so much like, you got to go from this point to this point. If you get lucky, there's a whole neighborhood garage sale, right? Like then you can hit a few at once, but like the travel time on that really prevents me. It's only like, okay, I'm out running an errand. It's a Friday where they all kick off. Okay, I'm going to jump into this one because I'm early because everybody else is coming Saturday, but they started Friday, and I'll take a minute here and there to do that if I can.
Okay. Yeah, that's good when you can hit them all at the same time. We've done that like once where you had like a neighborhood yard sale. We knew when it was, and then we go from house to house. There was actually one that had all the people come to the end of the street, and they had this huge tent set up for like a community sale. So that worked out pretty well too, than doing all the traveling. But all right, well, where do you want to start here?
Why don't let's start with some music. I know you're a music guy, so
Okay.
you want me to kick off or do you want to
Yeah,
go?
go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So first off, this is something that I picked up recently where I was just like, oh, like this is gonna get Jason's attention. You guys were just talking about the 30th anniversary, right, of Huey Lewis in the news with sports. And I happened to actually find like a full collection of Huey Lewis albums. Okay. So
Nice.
I got the picture of this. I don't know if this is in the right order. Sports, okay, right there. I got 4 right there. Then we got what's this one? Small World, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And then 4 chords and several years ago. Is this a best of album? What is this one?
It was, you actually went chronologically. Very good.
Okay.
The Four Chords album was the tour that I saw them on, and it's a bunch of like throwback covers from like the 50s. Uh,
Oh.
what was I'm trying to think of the couple songs. It'll come to me here in a minute, but that they released to the radio.
Yeah, but so that was cool just to kind of get more familiar with their but I also picked up this Dio album, which I've been loving. Like if you ever find a heavy metal tape, you're like, whoa, I can't believe it. I had that Metallica score a couple months back, which was awesome. I also picked up this one, The Blasters, because it's a band I feel like I've heard of. They're kind of like rockabilly. Unfortunately, the tape is warped, and really I found this era of tapes. Most of the ones I find, these Warner tapes, they don't play. I was taking a chance on it because I passed it up like 2 or 3 times, and then I was just like, and it still didn't play. So not worth it. But I did also find these.
Oh yes, there we go.
Yeah, just
Memorex.
all that look of that tape and all, everybody was making their mixtapes on those things, and it's got that style that takes you back. But I also was able to pick up some records. The first one, at least I thought it was a record, is this Bruce Springsteen, the E Street Band live 75 to 85. But then I opened it up, of course, right? So you get inside, you got a booklet, so that's nice. And then it's 3 cassettes.
Oh, weird.
And so when I took it up, because usually the vinyl costs more than cassettes, and when I took it up to throw, I was like, I don't know how you want to ring this up. She's like, yeah, I don't know what to do with that. She's like, 50 cents. I was like,
Oh,
okay.
nice. Yes, ma'am.
This is the big one for me. This is my last of music. I don't know if you know the significance of this album.
No,
But
I don't.
really cool album sleeve that looks like a pack of cards, right?
I see that. Yeah.
Blackjack. But on the back, you probably still can't quite make it out. But this band is Michael Bolton's band before he went solo. But
Oh,
more
wow.
Kiss fans, which I am, it's Bruce Kulick's band, because he was Kiss's guitarist through the 80s and the early 90s, and he was like their longest running guitarist, even though he wasn't the original. He's beloved by Kiss fans. So I never thought I would find this in the wild. So to find a Blackjack album, it's just like nobody else knows what this is, but I know what this is.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So how about you though? What'd you find?
Yeah, the songs are "It's All Right" and "But It's All Right" on that Huey Lewis album. Loved those two. I remember that was when I was working at the radio station, and those songs were out of singles. Didn't find a whole lot of music. I take that back. I did find some music. Nothing really that I wanted to spring for. I found a tape like the Warner Brothers you had the cover. I think I put it up on Instagram. It was Scott Baio's album.
Oh yeah.
I should have just picked it up for the fun of it, but I didn't. But yeah, so we went down south to a couple places we hadn't been to last Saturday in Greenville, Alabama. Hit their Goodwill. There was nothing there. And then we found a thrift mall or antique mall that had a bunch of booths with stuff. This is where most of this stuff came from. But you might remember back, I think it might have been our first episode, Adam, that I was home and I found a bunch of 45 sleeves that did not have the records. And there's a few in there that I was like, all right, someday I'm going to eventually get the record and I'll just hang on to these sleeves. But I found one of them. I actually was featured, I think, in our intro for the longest time. So there's the Blues Brothers. Give me some love in 45. So I finally got the correct disc with that. So that was great. And then this one just jumped out at me. Are you familiar with the Cult Film Club podcast? Sean and Pax
I love it.
and Jamie, they covered this movie. I was so surprised to see the soundtrack out there, but Electric Dreams.
Wow.
I had to take a picture and send it over to them just for the fun of it. But man, there's some great bands on here. Culture Club. I mean, Jeff Lynne. I know the the Together in Electric Dreams, like the theme song almost, you would say.
Yeah.
But was not totally familiar with everything else that was on there. And it's been years since I watched the movie.
Yeah,
so
I have it back here on my shelf.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah, but I have
of course you do.
VHS, of all that. So that's awesome.
Yeah, so those were my only two music finds that came home with. I found Journey's Frontiers.
Oh.
And I almost got it, but the cover was like ripped in half, and they still wanted like $3 for it. I mean, the record was okay, but I'm like, oh man, I want the album cover too. It's those Journey albums are so glorious, the artwork. So I left that one behind.
Oh, too bad.
With Scott Baio. So
yes. No.
All right, where you want to go?
Let's do some books. Let's see what we find here. So I've been picking up some kind of random odds and ends. One of these is just another one of these Elsie and the Critter Kids from the 90s. I continue to be fascinated by the redesigns of the little critter characters. It just cracks me up. So I grab those whenever I find them. I found a Heathcliff storybook, so hey, might as well. A Strawberry Shortcake book. This one was just fun because it was a library book and it still had the card that was like totally checked out all the way. Like, so kids were really loving this book for a while, at least. It had its time into the 90s, it said. But then also one thing I wanted to say is my Goodwill, just every once in a while, I don't know if they have a big stack and they're just occasionally putting them out or what, but these manga books, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Manga collections like Naruto, but there's like Final Fantasy. There's some One Piece, which just has that Netflix series, so those are going to sell. There's Naruto, all that stuff, but there's like a Kingdom Hearts one. There's a Zelda one. Like this is all the stuff. So been hanging on to these, but these are going to definitely go up because they always sell immediately as soon as I put any manga up. But I went to a garage sale and they had the X-Men 2 novelization. I have the first movie, but I didn't have the sequel, so I was excited to get that.
Nice.
They had Westworld, which I love this movie. But what's crazy about it, because so Michael Crichton, he wrote this and everything. It's just the script. It's like the screenplay.
Oh, weird.
It's not a novelization. And that was so bizarre to me. He's like, well, I wrote the movie. I'm not going to rewrite it as a book, I guess.
I've never seen a script in that like paperback form.
Yeah, it's in a novel format. This was fun getting Damien Omen 2 because I have the VHS. So to have that coming up for the holiday season. But then also it was really cool. They had Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So I was able to grab those. But then I got this Empire Strikes Back. And I was like, wait, what is this? Oh, this is Marvel Comics. It's a comic book in novel form. Oh,
the adaptation. Okay.
Yeah, it's the adaptation. And it is fascinating because so many of like the words, like they don't even call a lightsaber. Like there's no scruffy looking nerf herder. They use a different term. All those different things in there. But the fact also that it's just full color is what really impresses me. So that was really, really neat to find. Is there anything else? There's one more that I wanted to share because I consider it a book, like an activity book, even though it's technically a calendar. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, 1984 Smurf activity calendar. Okay. So there's so much more to this than you would think. So this is like, oh, okay, you fill out questions about yourself, basically. I like this, I like that. But each one is a different thing. So it's like, identify these Smurfs or here's like one that's like a kind of a maze thing. You're trying to make your way up to the right balloon, different, things like that. But then in the back, like at the end, there's a connect the dots, which I thought was super cute. And then this is complete. So it has all these stickers.
Oh
And I know you're a
wow.
sticker guy, but it says stuff like don't forget, sleepover, doctor appointment, birthday, anniversaries, a silly day with Jokey Smurf. Like, so that was really, there's 2 pages of them. So you can just put them throughout the year. Plus, it has a glossary of all the answers for the different.
Oh, that's cool. That is really cool.
Yeah, and it's in great shape. I was just like, this is beautiful. I'm hanging on to this, so because I have a big Smurf collection. It's the only collectibles I've left at my dad's house. So when we visit, my kids can play with them because I was collecting Smurfs all the time when I was little. That was my nickname, what my dad called me when I was little. So it's just fun. So anyway, that's it for books.
Okay. Yeah, I love the Smurfs. I collected a lot of the Smurfs figurines as a kid, so that's an awesome find. That those Star Wars, well, the novelization. I love collecting the comic book novelizations. So I'm guessing those are straight from the whatever 3 or 4 issue run that they did for each movie back then.
Yeah, they just shrunk it down and fit it in between the pages. Yeah.
Yeah, and the book thing too for Goodwill. It seems like they almost like trade books with other stores, or they'll get a shipment in from a store and ship some of theirs out that aren't selling or something. Because I see a lot of turnover like that, and all of a sudden, boom, there's a bunch of books that have come in, and I don't know, that might be wrong, but that's what I'm thinking. Anyway, I've been kind of striking out on the storybooks and stuff since I found those Muppet Babies books, which again, that was just kind of a wow, where'd these come from kind of moment. But we did go into another antique mall last weekend, and I found this, and it just jumped off the page to me. My first car was a Pontiac, and I have this love of Pontiac still. I wish they'd bring the brand back, GM. But I've seen some of these images before taking out of context. But this is a 1983 Pontiac like catalog. Oh, we build excitement. I just love this thing. It's long. It's actually set up to where they might have mailed it to, previous owners or whoever they had that had bought a Pontiac in 1982. Sent one in the mail, but there's a lot of images that just kind of jump off the page here. I got to flip to one is my car. That's the Pontiac 6000. But of course, this is 1 year, I think, removed from what Kit was. So there you see,
Yeah.
those bowling ball hubcaps there for Kit. Sorry for the light. There's another one that is just straight out of Knight Rider. Hold on here as I find it. I was like, oh gosh. And this was the image that I had seen before online with those red.
Goodbye. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. But oh gosh, that just spoke to me. I was like, I gotta have this. Where's my car? So there's my car, the Pontiac 6000. Yes, sir.
Not quite as sleek, not quite as aerodynamic.
Not quite. Yeah. Mine was actually I think a 1990 when we got it. So it was a lot newer, but it's still the same body style and everything. But oh yeah, I love this picture too. This guy trying to be Michael Knight. The girl is on the hood,
That's amazing. I mean, they knew what they had, right? They had a free ad every week on Knight Rider, so play it up.
Yeah. So this just oh god, and then some of the the station wagons even, and I don't know. It was just such a throwback to me. In the back, let's see. Oh, they do have some features and stuff that on each car in the book, so that was pretty cool. Some of the interior shots, and even some of the smaller car. I mean, this was everything. There are little hatchbacks and stuff in there too. But man, I saw that image. I think it was like $3. I was like, that's coming home with me.
Yeah, that's a great piece of history.
So that's really the only book that I found recently that I picked up. I
Yeah.
did. Now I'm going to just jump real quick before we get into VHS. I know you got some VHS, but again, with the Wax Pack flashback, I've been wanting to get cards. I have cards that I've opened or bought, years ago, and I still have sets I need to complete. So, just came today. The rock cards, if you remember those with the hologram cover, it's got all the bands, heavy metal bands and stuff. I've been trying to get a complete set of that. I'm getting there. And then there was another booth in one of the antique malls that just had full boxes of old baseball cards, and then they had opened some up so you could buy the pack. So there's 1989 Tops. I think this was 88 or 89 Don Russ and 88 Fleer. So I just picked up some packs to open, along the way. And man, I so appreciate when they will open a box for you so you can buy by the pack. You don't have to spend like $40 to get whatever 16 packs.
Yeah, it's cool though you were able to get that variety from each of the major, companies. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and he had them all lined up like they had Fleer and Don. Someone already knew that I had that Mickey had gifted me over the years that I still need to open. But yeah, it was like 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92. I mean, he had them all there.
Well, this is my question. You tell me if you know. So obviously Topps and Fleer got into non-sports trading cards. Did Don Russ ever try for a license of a movie or a cartoon or something? Have you ever seen anything?
I think there are some Don Russ cards out there. Don Russ, let's see. Who was the one with O-Pee-Chee? Was it Fleer and O-Pee-Chee were maybe the same company? Maybe. I can't remember if it was them or Don Russ, but I think in the earlier 80s, there are some Don Russ branded cards out there.
Okay. Yeah, just like, if anybody knows, drop us a comment, because I've always been curious about that. Like how many other sports card companies, went out on the other side. So we're going to jump to VHS then?
Yeah, let's do it. Go ahead.
Okay. So obviously, you've been out and about, you've been sending me a lot of stuff and pictures of what you've been finding. I've been holding on to some of this just for the videos. So first up, this was really fun. Whenever I can find Ninja Turtles tapes, I'm going to grab them, because like the ones I have, I have a lot. I didn't have this one, Pizza by the Shred, but all the ones I have, they're like written on and they're all gross. I got these at a garage sale, just direct, like right out of somebody's living room, and they just kept wonderful, they're in great condition all around. So I was super happy just to say, okay, now I can throw out the old junky ones, and say I got them.
Now, did they do some outside of the Burger King ones?
Oh, yeah. Like, so there was FHE released them, and yeah, so there was official releases, and then it was just Burger King was like, oh, we'll do like 3 or 4 tapes that you can collect here. But
yeah.
Speaking of like kids side of things, I did also grab for that same garage sale Bat Monk, just because I already had one too, but this was a nicer copy, so I was like, okay, because that's a fun one to watch. Zathura is a movie. Obviously, it's like the tail end of VHS. This is DVD era. Do you know this movie?
No, I don't.
This was actually right before Iron Man. This is this is the movie that I can't remember his name. Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau directed this. But my youngest, this movie, it's about these two brothers playing a board game, but they get sucked into the board game a lot like Jumanji. It's from the same author as Jumanji. Who wrote this. Cool. Anyway, it's just a really fun movie. I was curious to see, the VHS experience, because I've never had that. Let me see. Oh yeah, this is another one I've just always wanted to see, and I never bought it until now. But Warriors of Virtue, and this is like a different cover than is usually on it, but it's all these like animal martial arts people stuff. I remember. So it's kind of like tried a little too late to jump on the Ninja Turtles bandwagon. Also, when I was traveling for the Labor Day holiday, we went to Mount Rushmore. I stopped in at a garage sale that there was just on the side. My wife's like, don't say I never did anything for you. Yes, you can stop at the garage sale.
I'm taking you to Mount Rushmore, dear. Come on.
Now, I had to pass up this old guy running it. There was like Wild Things. I'm always amazed. I see all these like Christian videotapes and then Wild Things mixed in. It always happens. I don't know. It's like the husband chose this. I don't know. Trying to, but anyway, but I grabbed these, which is this movie Koch, okay, with Walter Matthau, which is bizarre, but it's the it's called Magnetic Video Corporation, MVC. So these are like really old school tapes. But then Time Rider, which is it's produced by Mike Nesmith of the Monkees, and it's
Okay.
yeah, and it stars what's his, oh, I always forget now. The guy from Tremors, Fred Ward. Fred Ward
Oh,
is
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's called The Adventure of Lyle Swan. And basically he just rides his motorcycle onto a testing site that launches him back in time, and then they're all working to try
That
to get
cover was cool. I like that
yeah.
cover.
It was neat. It's in the Old West. But also I've been finding a lot of movies lately I just didn't know existed. Like you probably know about this, but That Was Then, This Is Now with Emilio Estevez. Have you ever
That
heard of
one
that?
doesn't ring a bell. Nope.
No. I'm like, what is it? I think it's Matt Dillon, I think, is the other one in it. So you're just like, okay. Where's the other one here? Yeah. This was another one. Wise Guys. I've never seen, it's a Brian De Palma film, but I've never heard of it. But a lot of people I showed it to, they're like, oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
So you remember that movie that you found that had Andre the Giant? And
Yes, yes.
so this one has Captain Lou Albano. I was like, oh, now we have companion tapes, so you just wouldn't expect to see a wrestler in the movie.
That's crazy.
But because of that, then I've been like, okay, let me find more DeVito tapes. Other People's Money. Like,
Okay, yeah.
DeVito was on a run, man. Like he ruled the 80s. This is another one I've just always heard of. Blame It on the Bellboy with Bronson Pinchot. I've always wanted to see it. It's
Never seen that one.
Armed and Dangerous with John Candy.
Oh my God, yes. That's like my favorite John Candy.
And like it's my favorite style of tape, the RCA Columbia. So that was great. Eugene Levy's in that, right? With him?
Yes, yeah. They're the duo.
I had to grab a Hot Shots because I have
Why
the DVD,
not?
but I didn't have the VHS. Yeah, they didn't have part two. This was a fun one, The Gladiator. Okay, and this Video Treasures or Star Maker, like it's kind of this weird like combination. What are they called anyway? But they just like kind of reissue these movies, in cheaper tapes. But I have all these.
So that one is The Gladiator, not Gladiator.
Correct. No Russell Crowe here. Okay. This is another one from the same garage sale where I got the Ninja Turtles tapes, Mark Wahlberg Fear. The reason I grabbed it though, and it cracked me up, like number one, I didn't have it yet, but they had this on DVD and so obviously they loved it and then they upgraded, and then they were selling it, but I just thought that was funny because these people loved Fear for some reason. Check out this one, The Best of Just Kidding. So it's like a knockoff, and I don't know if it's like from Britain. I haven't watched it yet, or like some international thing, but it's like Candid Camera or Totally Hidden Video. But so it's like, but it's a show I've never heard of before.
Yeah, I have not heard that one either.
Just a few more here. I mean, because I really have got lucky. Just again, a few more didn't know existed. Heart Condition with Bob Hoskins and Denzel Washington.
I saw that on Twitter today. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Never heard of it. Bob, that's random.
Do you know this one? Kiefer Sutherland, Lou Diamond Phillips, Renegades.
I have heard of that one. Yes. Yeah. That was in.
I'm assuming.
Yeah. Yeah.
This was a weird one. This was in their Christmas section. This is called A Cosmic Christmas. Okay, and I don't know. It says this heartwarming animated Christmas story is a delight for all seasons. A young boy tries to explain to three visitors from outer space the true meaning of Christmas, but everywhere they look are signs of greed and commercialism. So it kind of feels like the He-Man She-Ra special, but
right. Never heard of that one.
How about Share Fitness, man?
Nice.
A New Attitude it's called, but it's a CBS Fox, so I had to grab it. But it's just funny because you see the outfits that she's wearing in this, like it looks ridiculous. Okay, last one here is what I've actually just been listening to while I've been cleaning up in my office and stuff. But Dolly Parton live in London. Okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it's like she's got a long set list for this one. Like this whole thing, that's the full set list, and she's bantering in between, and it's fun. Like, and there's all these
Cool.
British like 80s punkers, and she calls them out. She's like, there's a lot of punk rockers out there. I think they call them romantics now, but and then they cut to all these people with mohawks and stuff, and they're like, yeah. Like,
Everybody loves Dolly.
yeah, it was fantastic. So, but yeah, that's been my run of VHS, and I've just been loving it. So
Good stuff, man. Yeah, man, I was so disappointed because there was a whole booth, the same one that had that tore up Journey album, that had a whole wall of VHS. Some that I was like, oh gosh, yes. And 75% of them had mold. And I'm like, you had mentioned that you're trying to find a technique or whatever to get rid of mold, right?
yeah, yeah. There's an actual like little booklet you could buy from Lunch Meat VHS, Lunch Meat Video. I think it's Lunch Meat VHS, but they kind of specialize in specialty VHS, all that stuff, and it tells you how to clean it. But you have to take it apart. You have to actually like there's a lot involved in it. I haven't tried the method yet, but I'm going to one of these days because I've been like going through my stuff and be like, I didn't remember this had mold. So now I gotta
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple of mine that I had to have, and I'll see mold in there, and I'll just do like a quick rewind or fast forward,
right,
and then hit it with the head cleaner afterwards. But it's still kind of there, so that kind of stinks. We were there. One of the videos I showed you guys, speaking of fitness, was that Funhouse fitness video with JD Roth, right?
yeah, the Funhouse game show, if people don't remember that one. And like I will say, by the way, the Totally Rad Christmas podcast, they just covered Funhouse with our buddy Chad from Horror Movie Barbecue. So he was on that as a guest, and I was just like, oh man, that would have been a jewel. But like you said, it had mold in it, and I was like, man,
yeah. I was like, I just don't want to. I'm taking pictures of it just to send along that, hey, I found it in the wild. I've actually watched it. There's a playlist I put together at some point, I think for the Retro Network, of all these like random 80s fitness videos and 80s and 90s, and that was one of them. So it's out there on YouTube if you care to watch it. But
okay,
all right, I just have 5 tapes I'm going to show you, 2 of which are going to Adam for his CBS Fox collection. This one is not in the best of shape. But you didn't have it, so I grabbed it. Oh Heavenly Dog with Chevy Chase. Who is it's Jane Seymour. I forgot. God, it's been I can't remember the last time I watched it. But yeah, the tape isn't bad. So there's one more for your CBS Fox collection. Yeah. And then this one, Charles Bronson and Lee Marvin in Death Hunt. Yeah.
Just put Death and Charles Bronson, it'll sell.
Yeah. All those Death Wish movies and all that. These 3 are really fun, and I was lucky that none of these had mold. The first one, I was like, what is this? I don't remember this at all, but apparently with your purchase of a Happy Meal or whatever at McDonald's, these were $3.99. I found the commercial over there on YouTube. But it's the Wacky Adventures of Ronald McDonald, Scared Silly. Do you have any of those in your collection?
I do, and they're from the same people who did like Rugrats and shows like that. Real Monsters. And my kids actually really liked them. I was surprised. They like watched it multiple times. I was like, oh, okay.
Well, if you don't have this one, I'll send it your way.
That is one of the ones I have, but thanks.
Okay, all right. But I just the like you said, the style was that like early 90s. When was this put out? Actually, it was 1998 when this was put out. But yeah, I was like, weird. This is just not the the drawing, the usual drawing of all the McDonald characters.
The fun thing about it is they start out with a live action Ronald McDonald, and he lives in like a Pee-wee's Playhouse type thing.
Oh, okay.
Introduces the cartoon. Those are real fun segments.
Interesting. Okay. Well, that's cool. This one, I'm assuming it was part of a series put out by Columbia House. I have the original Miami Vice movie. It was the pilot, the 2-part pilot. I have that, and I found the collector's edition of Calderon's Return. This nice clamshell. Oh gosh, Actually, I didn't open it up. I thought I opened it up. I think I did, and I taped it back. But oh crap, it does have a little bit of mold on it. But yeah, the Return Part 1 and Part 2 from Miami Vice. I just saw that image, and I was like, boom, it's going in the cart. I don't care how
Yeah.
much it is. And the last one, did not know this one existed too, for stuff that we didn't know existed. I have still yet to watch any of the sequel movies of the Never-Ending Story. But did you know there was an animated Never-Ending Story?
Wow.
The animated adventures of Bastian Balthazar Bucks. So I was like, what is this? I had never seen it before. That there was an animated Never-Ending Story. Came out in 1995, and it's an HBO Kids video. So maybe it was on HBO. Yeah. HBO video. So I had never knew that it had existed. So that was an instant in the coming home with me so I can check it out.
Just an oddity. Yeah, gotta grab it.
So that was it. That's all of my haul. I think you got maybe a couple more things, right?
Yeah, I just have two more little things I wanted to share. The first was just like, when you find random toys and games and whatever, right? So this Muppet Babies puzzle was just, 60 pieces. I could count it in the store. I was like, it's complete. Okay, we're good to go, So this is like my second Muppet Babies one though. So I've been finding these. I have this like little Muppet Babies collection I've been building over time, But the big one, literal big one that I was so excited about was this. Do you know about Pig Pong?
I remember the game. Yes. Yeah.
I loved this game. I got it when I was like 4 years old for Christmas. And I was not an only child, but my brother and sister are 15 and 17 years older than me. So I didn't have anybody to play against. Like my friends came over and they didn't want to play Nintendo. They didn't want to play Pig Pong. But I've set this up. And my family and I have just been having the most fun, just playing on teams and go back and forth, and everybody's just cheating or whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
Different strategies. And it's so simple, but it gets everybody going. So yeah, I'm so happy to have that back. My cousin's like, oh, I based my whole third grade birthday party around Pig Pong, coming out of the woodwork. Everybody's like, I remember that game. So it's great.
Oh man, I remember the commercials. I never had it as a kid, so that's awesome. Something like that you can bring the family in. I had the what was that game? It was in I think I showed it off on one of our episodes. It was in the glass clear plastic enclosure. You had the little balls that go through the hoops to one side, and you're tapping on each other. Man, me and my little daughter were into that, and then the wife was like, no, that thing is too loud. Get that out of here. So that got pushed to eBay. But man, when you can find stuff like that to bring the family together, it's great. And puzzles, don't remind me of puzzles. I've been trying since you set the fire of that G.I. Joe mural puzzle, which is 4 puzzles in one that you can put together. I was like, I got to get that together and get it framed or something. And got one at RetroCon, and I found the other 2 for a very good price compared to just buying singles on eBay. Messaged the person, are all the pieces there? The last time we put it together, they were there. It wasn't close. Neither puzzle. So now I'm still sitting at 2 of those G.I. Joe puzzles. So that's good that you can find a puzzle like that's 60 pieces. You can count it out and do it in the store or whatever. Hey kids, come here, put this together while I keep shopping.
Yeah.
But those are always just a crapshoot unless they're sealed. So I'm glad you had good luck with that.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, like you say, it's you never know. Even if it's just the one piece, it's still incomplete, right? So yeah. You let me know, because there is a store by me that has some, and I think maybe one that you need still, but the price isn't exactly right. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll definitely see. All right. Well, I think that's it. Unless you had anything else, that was all. Okay,
that was plenty.
Well, that was good. This was a reasonable haul. I didn't buy 20 tapes and have 50 books this time like I normally do. But I might try to be more selective with with that kind of thing, as my my library, my big bookshelf is about full. So got to find the little nuggets like the Pontiac book.
Yeah, I will
To,
say, in addition, I didn't show it off, but I've actually been buying more VHS drawers as well to house the tapes. So
I saw like 3 of them and cassette tape drawers. I'm getting to that point where I might go ahead and get some more. I've found this huge CD case that's, I don't know, probably a good 4 foot high, that I'm actually still buying CDs for my son and like putting in his car. Hey, check this out. I had a stack I should have probably brought in here that was like an original release of Def Leppard's not gosh, the one before Hysteria, Pyromania. Def Leppard's Pyromania. It was like one of the original, compact disc release, and stuff like, I don't know, Kid Rock, and I had Aerosmith's greatest hits and REO Speedwagon's greatest hits and stuff like that. Ones that I actually have that he's been trying to go through my CD collection. I'm like, let me just find one that's $1 or something at Goodwill. So we got this awesome CD stand now that they're all stacked up like, back in the day.
that's great.
You can
Yeah.
grab some on the way out to the car.
I just remembered one quick story of a disappointment, major disappointment for garage selling. So my wife contacted me. She said, hey, my coworkers' parents are having a garage sale, but you have to take our kid to soccer in the morning. They said they would let you go tonight, a day early, and pick through the stuff. She's like, they have VHS, they have VCRs, they have TVs and all this stuff. I'm like, oh, I can't wait. I get so excited, right? So we make a special trip. We drive out there. My wife came with me. She doesn't normally want to go to a garage sale. We get in there, and I'm like, oh, what they didn't tell us, it was the 91-year-old grandma's house. She had just moved to a nursing home, and she was very Christian, and everything was Jesus books, Jesus videos, Jesus records. I'm like, no. I had to tell him, I'm like, look, in life, this works for me, but when it comes to entertainment, my genre is not Jesus, and I'm sorry to disappoint you. I can't take any of this home, But they have like a full record player with the giant speakers, but they wanted $375 for it. I'm like, at a garage sale, what are you doing?
This is not
unfortunately, I walked away empty-handed, but my wife found a bunch of stuff because she's an old lady at heart. So this is grab this, so she walked away with a few things, but you always got to ask for all the details ahead of time,
Yeah, sometimes you can find some nuggets. Now, I remember going to a garage sale that was put on by some church friends of ours, and there was a lot of like Statler Brothers and all of the Southern gospel records, and hidden among those was like the Godfather soundtrack. And I was like, oh, there we go. So that, I guess, showed him who I was as I'm walking out with like the Godfather and Rocky. I think I got there too, and some of these other soundtracks.
Well, what I was banking on is sometimes grandma buys toys and birthday presents and hides them away.
Right.
And then they get left there for 20 years. And that's what I was hoping for, but no such luck. So,
well, never hurts to try, but yeah, it helps to know a little bit ahead of time too, especially if you're going to make a special trip or drive there. All right. Well, this was fun, man. I'm glad to get back in the saddle, so to speak. And hopefully next time Kevin will be here too. And we can find see all the comics and books and stuff that he's grabbing, and VHS too, that he loves to get. We missed you, Kevin. So I think that's going to do it now for episode 1 of season 3. Here we go. Strap in. We might do some quick calls along the way too. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Because that is a long month in between sometimes episodes, depending on how much stuff that we have. But anyway, we'll see how it goes. Thank you guys for watching, subscribing to TRN TV, the Retro Network. Check out all the content over there. Check out more videos right here too. Adam and I, we're trying to get kicked off in the Wax Pack Flashback, next season of that. Opening up trading cards. I'm putting those little shorts out there now, just 1-minute openings of cards. So lots of good stuff that's coming your way here. Plus podcasts. We got Adam's brand new podcast we're putting out here on on YouTube. I saw today that Google is getting rid of Google Podcasts, like their app, and it's going to YouTube Music. So YouTube is gearing up for like a regular podcast place or podcast app. So we're already here, man. We're already here. All right, we'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.